Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today with the attorney Margaret W. Wong and Associates. This show that is hosted by the law firm of the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who has been working on the immigration field for over 46 years, and she still keeps going. Also, other attorneys that weren't even born when she was already an attorney, they are one of the major attorneys in the state of Ohio and in good part of the United States, just like Attorney Francis Fung Sang, Attorney Allison Chan, Attorney Joseph Fung Sang. Well, they are awesome attorneys. Also, Attorney, what is the name of this attorney?
Mr. Viola.
Quasi.
Oh, Mr. Quasi. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm trying to remember all of the name of the attorneys, and that's really exciting. And Ms. Wong, thank you so much for having us today, for sharing your knowledge with us, and having a good heart for helping people. So overall, today is the Colombian Independence Day. So what are the good thoughts about this Independence Day, especially for Colombians that are trying to get advantage or take advantage of this new parole for the reunification of the families?
I just met quite a few Colombians actually, and they were telling me it's really bad there because these are people who are really not like poor. They come to America for economic reasons or for extreme poverty. The Colombians that are coming today, they normally own a business, normally a small business, and it's in a military zone. And then they were really squeezed. Like these people would come every day and squeeze you for money. They just don't have it. And then they report to police. See, normally, whenever we do an asylum case or parole case, the first thing American asylum officer, the judges would ask, or immigration judge would ask, hey, why didn't you call the police? Because in the American Western culture, you call 911, I go home, I lost my car. I'm even scared to go into the house. I call 911 and say, hey, my car is someone opened my car, I lost my car. But in the foreign culture where I came from Hong Kong or China, we don't do that. It's naturally, you don't just call 911 because there's not enough police officer. So whenever we apply for asylum, the judges always ask, why didn't you call the police? And if you call the police, what happened? So lately, I've been seeing quite a few Colombians in my office. Actually, they came on tourist visa. They always had a tourist visa. They used to come once every year, vacation, shopping, and go back and run their business. Now they're saying we're scared, and these are people who have generational business, like the parents started a small business, the sons took over a small business. So it's just really sad talking about Colombians.
Okay, so I'm just wishing them a happy Independence Day for Colombia, and hopefully everything is going to be all right. The thing is that Colombia just voted for a president that is in the same line of the Venezuelan president, also the Cuban government, and they are kind of in the same thought or the same kind of politics. So, in this case, what happens with the asylum applications if Colombians wants to file for political asylum? Would it be maybe a better chance for them to win, or is something that is not noticeable yet, at least under the eyes of immigration?
And that's why, Mr. Juan Carlos, I enjoy working with you because you know the South American politics, you know the island politics, you know the whole South America politics. Because as I always maintain, North America, you have, of course, the Americas, which is in the middle. You have Canadians, which are on top. And then in the bottom is all the Mexico bordering Arizona, Texas, and California. And then more south, you have the Central Americans, and of course the Venezuelans, Argentinians. It's just beautiful down there. Peru, And each country, I know we're not racist or we're not, but each country have a national, um, like the characteristics. Like a lot of doctors would say, oh, the Filipinos are the most difficult patients because they're all their wives or their people, they came from Filipinos and they're all nurses. I always thought, even in the big South America, you have Central America, you have Mexico, you have the Argentinians, the Chileans, and but each country is so different. That it's not just they're all Latinos or Hispanics or whatever. But to answer your question, Mr. Juan Carlos, actually, what is your question? Now that I really like your question. That's why I said it's nice to work with you.
If, yeah,
You share a
if
lot.
it's
Yeah.
a good time for maybe for Colombian people to file for asylum,
Asylum.
please,
Okay. Got
because
it.
of these changes in the
Good.
government.
One thing nice about America, even though it's changing, is America is really not country specific. Even though sort of it is, you have TPS from Honduras, Hurricane Mitch, and then El Salvador, you have DED from Hong Kong. But America is very much a quota system, a preference system. That means they have a priority dates. Like from India, it will take 10 years to get a green card. So talking about asylum from Colombia, asylum law is the same for the whole world. Is do you have reasonable fear? Actually, it's credible fear. And the fear level that is not beyond a reasonable doubt because there's a criminal standard. So the five grounds, race, nationality, member of a special group, political opinion, and the fifth one. So you have to figure that out. It doesn't matter what country you're from. Even Spain is such a beautiful country, right? But we have cases from Spain because Spain is very, very fundamentalist Catholic. I'm a Catholic. So a lot of Spaniards, especially 30, 40 years ago, they belonged to Opus Dei. If you read the novels by Dan Brown, they really they beat themselves at the back, like with strings, with needles. And it's not a myth, it's the truth. So and even in America, there's a lot of, in the olden days, there's societies, just even China, right? We have tongs, we have that's because FBI doesn't really care about people like us in the olden days. So I can tell you about stories. So talking about asylum, just because Colombia or Venezuela or Chilean or a lot of these countries that voted, their people wanted a certain government. America could not just because, oh, I don't like your government, I give you asylum. But of course, it's a different standard. So I'm not saying it's easier, but actually it is maybe easier to win. But the whole thing is the connection to the current government. Like El Salvador now, because it's one of the best now it doesn't mean we'll still lose El Salvador, even though they came 10, 20 years ago. If you are the son or daughter of a policeman, if you go back, you probably will go to jail. So that itself is a future fear on asylum. Even though more than 90,000 people were put in jail by the current president, because everybody who had links to anything is going to jail. So I don't necessarily think, Mr. Juan Carlos, that Colombia would be bad or it would be easier. I just think because of the current uh, criminal situation, the militarization of the people, it's just very bad. So you're right. So I don't necessarily think it's easier, but the grounds may be more.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, that's a question that a lot of people are asking me at this point because they said, well, this president is very bad and I would like to apply for asylum. But honestly, what's going on in Colombia is not impacting yet the international aspect of the politics. So we don't know yet what the policies are going to be from the United States of America. At the moment, they just have this possibility of applying for the reunification for Colombian people, which is also for Guatemalans, Hondurans, and Salvadorians. So, well, yeah.
If I may interrupt, because I was just actually thinking about this the past 2 days, because just the past 2 days, we're getting quite a lot of Colombians and El Salvador asking the opposite question. Now that El Salvador, in the Western eye, in the international eye, is doing better. Does it mean that we cannot do asylum unless no more past or future fear or well-founded fear. We also are getting questions from Ukrainians saying that, wow, if somehow Ukraine win the war and if Ukraine may or may not get into EU, does it mean our asylum ground will go down because Ukraine is like on the upper hand now? So these are all questions. And I was just thinking, since we're talking about all this, you may want to do a program, and maybe I'll work with you on that, on the Western perspective. How does the Modi just came from India and met with the American successful Indians or the unsuccessful Indians, and see what does the Indian people think of the new India that Mr. Modi. So maybe you can do a program on what do we all think about South America. We'll educate the American public. We'll educate people who really are interested, but really don't have the sources that you and I do, because I see my clients. So I always ask them, oh, how is it? Because most of them only came 2 months ago, a year ago, 3 months ago. So, oh my gosh, why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. So I think it's sort of a fun
Yeah,
program. We
it
can
will be
talk
really
about all
fun to
that.
do a
Yeah.
show talking about that. Well, let's do the first question that we are getting today in the show. This comes from our YouTube channel, and it says, "Good morning. My name is Faisal. I am from India. I have a student visa. How can I change for a work visa?"
That's difficult because India, as you know, and we don't like to intermarry, so normally an Indian marries an Indian. India perm green card is taking up to 10 years, EB2, EB3 is taking up to maybe 12 years. President Biden did say they'll change, and you're right, how do you get a work visa? If you have economic hardship, I don't know what school you goes to. If your parents, for example, sponsored you for the first year, and you have economic hardship, you need proof that your parents are going through hard times. Then you can get an economic hardship work permit that you can work 20 hours off campus during school year, and full time in the holidays, Christmas, New Year, the summer. That's one way. If your degree is in STEM and science, like industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and stuff like information science, you can get another 24 months after the first 12 months of OPT. So you get 36 months of OPT, and then they'll give you 3 more chances to do the H-1B. H-1B is only for 6 years. So as long as before the 360 days, you do the perm, you can at least get 1 year extension. But if the I-140 is approved, you're waiting for quota, you can get a 3-year H-1B, even from a different employer. So another way to do is find an employer now to do a new perm for you when you're still on a student visa, because by the time you get the green card, it'll be 8-10 years anyway. Then you find a new employer who can port the old priority. That's a whole science about Indian and Chinese green cards. I'm lucky because I speak fluent Chinese. So we really figure, if you know the answer, give it to me too, because we're always figuring out how to get O visas, because O visa there's no prior. It's a whole science, and I'm so glad you asked this question.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. We have another question coming, and it says, "I have ESTA, but I also have a visitor visa. What is the best way to enter
Tourist
India?"
visa, visitor visa, 100% visitor visa.
Okay, thank you so much. That's perfect. And next question says, "I lost my asylum application. How long does it take for the appeal to be done or to have a court here?"
Very good. That's a good question. The appeal, I presume, is to BIA. So first, you go to USCIS. From Homeland Security, they'll refer to the court. That's not called lost, that's refer. So I presume you lost. When you lost, you probably lost in front of the judge. That's an IJ, immigration judge. Now your immigration judge is run by, the lawyers are run by Homeland Security, but the judges are paid by DOJ, Department of Justice. Then you go to BIA, Board of Immigration Appeals. That would take 9 months to 3 years. And I don't necessarily think a loss with the IJ is that bad. And I know for you it's life-threatening. But for lawyers like us, I enjoy appeals, because without no loss, no win. If you lose in the BIA, now you appeal to the circuit. For example, I'm in 6th Circuit, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, and Tennessee. We are 6th Circuit. Ninth Circuit is the biggest circuit. You have Alaska, California. So it depends on where you live. You go to that circuit. Ninth Circuit is good. Second Circuit is good. Second Circuit is New York. Second Circuit have we call the Jacobson remand, so you may still be able to protect your appeal. When Trump was here, the Second Circuit, they won't do Jacobson remand, but now Jacobson remand is coming back. So I am pushing. I'm hoping Sixth Circuit will consider a remand. It probably won't be named Jacobson. It could be named anything. I don't even care what the name. So appeals are not necessarily bad. I just finished an appeal. I'm sort of proud of. Actually, one of my partners did the case. I worked with him. I would love to win it. So pray that case for me. I couldn't tell you the name because I don't have permission from my client. It's a very serious case. It's a drug case. It's just a very sad case. I mean, I love my clients on that. I mean, I love a lot of my clients, but that case it meant a lot to me. So pray for me that I'll win that one. And it's on appeal. I actually lost no, I did not do the IJ because it's a new, it's been 10 years, 15 years. They came to us after they lost. I appealed it. I also lost. I went to the prosecutor's office and I tried to do a motion to vacate. I lost. I did another appeal, a motion to reopen with the Board of Immigration Appeals. I won. I came back to the judge. And I think I won. I mean, it's been up and down. It's really a fun case. And even the family, they're like, what are you doing? Because people don't understand this. Now I finally am in front of the Sixth Circuit. So we just filed it yesterday. I have that brief right next to me. So I'm praying that I'll win this one because it's a first case in Ohio that we are looking at a statute on a drug case. And I'm arguing it's not as serious as the government think it is. It's really not fair to my client because it's a long story, but we lost. All lawyers lost. Anybody who say I've never lost, they're lying. Actually, when I was a young lawyer, I said, "Oh, I never lost." That's because I was young and stupid. Now that I'm older, I tell people my losses because until you lose, you don't know what it is like to win. It's like a purebred. No purebred the first time win, then they don't know how to lose. You have to lose and you have to win, and then you sever the win.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this comment and this answer. And yeah, that's true. Is all of the attorneys have to lose one day, and the good thing is that
And then you're like, oh,
we don't
yeah.
we don't give up.
Yeah.
Did I mention to you that in 2011 I had a loss in a case, and when I went to the court and they notified me that I lost the case, I was really, really disappointed, super stressed. I was thinking, how am I going to tell my client this loss? And then I walked down the stairs in the court building, and I went back to my office. And 5 minutes later, my tongue twisted, and I couldn't talk. And I was having some kind of stroke, a very, very little stroke, but I had it, and that was 12 years ago. So I spoke to another attorney. He was older, and he told me, never take it personal. Never take it personal or too personal, because if you die, they will find another attorney, and they are not going to remember about you. So it's not that I took it easy, but the first loss that you get is a really hard punch that you have to recover from that. So I really understand what you're talking about, because I lost that first case and I still remember, and that was August 9th, 2011.
11, right.
Thank you so much.
For you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is coming from Luis Bautista. He says, if you're trying to bring your mom from Mexico with visa, do we need an attorney for this, or you do it yourself? I ask because I don't want to get scammed if I need an attorney, and maybe
you don't need a lawyer. You need to go. If I were you, I would just go on the usdos.gov website and fill out the DS-160, but don't file it or just download it. But your mother needs to have someone who speaks English. fit it in, check it, and then file it on computer. In a few days, they'll tell you a place, you pay the $120, $160, and then they'll give you an interview date. Some consulates, they're very slow, like at least a few months. Some consulates, I heard, is only 2 or 3 weeks. But absolutely don't use a lawyer. This is weird when an American person, it doesn't matter lawyer or no lawyer, do the DS-160, they're going to say it came from America. A normal tourist visa is really easy. The important question on there that you need to pay attention if I were you, one question is, do you have any immediate relatives in America? And the answer, if you're the son, she'll have to say yes, and they may hurt her. So a lot of people say no, because then it helps her. The other question is, are you single or married? Normally people say they're married because then I have my wife there, I have my children there. Why won't I come back? The whole thing is ties. You need a lot of ties back in home country. So a lot of people say they're married, even though they're single. And that's what the notarios do, because their job is to bring the alien here. Their job is not so much to tell the truth. So, and you're right. So you don't really need a lawyer. Another thing is make sure date of birth is the same. In America, we use the month, the date, and the year, not the date, the month, and the year. Actually, I saw another case that was denied on the tourist visa because the first application was denied, and they transposed the date and time and date and month. Now they told March instead of January 3rd or something. So now they think they have lied. So now they have to do another letter to explain they have not lied. These are little things. They also would ask, have any immigrant visa filed for you? The answer is no. I hope you did not file for your mother. So the answer is no, but if something is filed, it should be yes. The question actually is, was any labor cert or visa petition? I presume is no, but if it's yes, it's yes. They also ask, have you ever applied for permanent residency? I hope the answer is no, but if it's yes, a lot of times the older people, they got the green card, they go back and gave it up. So you say yes on so day, but surrendered. That means you don't want your green card anymore. Those are like 100% approval cases. So these are little things you need to pay attention to. If you need advice, just call a lawyer and they'll tell you, but you don't need a lawyer. Don't hire a lawyer.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for your honesty on this answer. But if you need more advice, please give us a call. The phone number is 216 279 3984. 216 279 3984. We have a bunch of questions today, and this is a very interesting one. This person says as follows. I'm going to read it in English because it's already translated into English. And it says, I have TPS since 2001. I am from El Salvador. I married to an US citizen, and he filed for me. I traveled abroad 2 times with advanced parole. He filed for me, but the case has been pending for about 6 years. Now, the case was sent to the court, and they said that I need to finalize my case in the court. Why do I need to go to court for a family petition? Maybe
I got it.
Removal order?
Right. I think what happened is if you had because TPS parole started in January 14th of 2001. If you came, I have a lot of El Salvadorians, especially during the Central America War, when they were murdering the Catholics and stuff like that. So if you came before like in the 99, 98, actually there was another TPS under El Salvador, but people didn't pay attention. You may already have a final order. A lot of my clients have it. On the final order means you already have a removal. Then in the meantime, because you left and come back, you probably didn't know you have the final order. So number one, you need to check the A number of that final order, because sometimes you got two A number, one under the TPS and the parole and one under the deportation case, removal case. Now they say the reason why they only told you now because under Trump was not approving parole. Trump was not giving green cards based on TPS parole. So maybe that was the delay. But more than that, now that you know you're in court, you probably really had a old deport in absentia. We call those in absentia. I would do a motion to reopen, but double check the same A number. Double check where's the jurisdiction, because it could be in New York and later on you move to Ohio. You know, it's always in the first place. When you filed, you could have filed for asylum. If you came even earlier than that, like before, I think it's 91, 95, you may want to check even if you belong to Nakara, because those are the early people that came with that part of the world. So you all you need to do is a motion to reopen from the court, ask for dismissal or termination, and go back to immigration to get the green card. But if you live in Ohio, I would go to immigration to get green card, because immigration in Ohio is only 6 months. But if you live somewhere like a Chicago, then you may want to go to the court and file for a motion to reopen, attach your fee, the 1225, attach your parole, and attach your 45, because places like Chicago, New York, they may advance the hearing. You get the only question is, when will you get a faster green card, in court or in CIS? In Ohio is CIS. In Tennessee is CIS, because Tennessee is a very new, Nashville is a very new, young immigration office. They're sort of tough because it takes years of practice to become nicer, gentler, to understand how immigrations are. So it depends on where you are, but it's not a hard case. Another way to do it is there is a headquarter memo on cases like that, because a lot of people are going through what you're going through. There is a headquarter memo. Ask your lawyer, if not, I'll do it for you, to tell you can actually file a motion to reopen, which of course it didn't do, because if you did it, you would not be here. I mean, and today you need another motion to reopen and then attach the fee. And it's just it's not complicated. It's just because that's why we went to law school.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Well, we only have 3 minutes and we have like 10 questions. So don't forget that the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. This person says, thank you for the show, Ms. Wong. I'm just watching the show and learning while waiting for USCIS to approve my I-730.
Congratulations.
That means that someone in the family won the case, right?
Right, yeah.
Perfect. Robin is saying, currently in TPS, travel abroad in advanced parole and parole twice. So can we adjust status through LPRs?
No, has to be citizen.
Okay, perfect. Okay, has to be a citizen. That's perfect. You are on top of it, Ms. Wong. I'm 46 years old. My dad is U.S. citizen. My mom is a resident. I've been here in the United States since I was 6 years old. Went to school and graduated. My dad got me a work permit in 97, expired in 99. Ever since then, I've said I was a citizen. I have a 12-year-old and 1-year-old. My fiance is a U.S. citizen. Is there a hope for me to get my situation fixed? Thank you so much.
I have seen a lot of cases like that, because you look American, you came where you're 6. In the new forms on the 45, they do ask, have you ever said that you're American citizen? Before the new forms, I mean, they don't ask, you don't tell. But that's bad. I don't know if you're registered to vote. You need to go through wherever you say American citizen, get a copy of it, because if you only nod your head, you didn't say it. You didn't say it. You have to we have a case actually like that. When they applied for green card, they didn't know. The officer find out and denied the green card. And then we went ahead and looked. It turned out they never even signed the driver's license. Someone signed for them. So we won that case. So you really have to go through all the paperwork that you said and see why you said. Under Trump, intent is no longer an issue. Under Obama, we have adopted kids that said they're citizen, but they think they were citizen. They probably were citizens, just they don't know they're not. Or they are brought to America when they were a few months old under the Vietnam era or the Chinese years and then anti-communism. So it depends on the circumstances, but these are difficult cases. I'm fighting one now that I think I may win it, but that's a 2001 case. And those are Chinese, because people like us, we don't I just want a passport to go to America, So So these are cases, it takes a lot of dreams, a lot of voyeurs, a lot of hope. So, but don't give up. Talk to a good lawyer, but start collecting. Where did you say you're an American citizen?
Oh, that's a kind of mistake. As long as you haven't said that in front of any government office, we may have some hope. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. Don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. The last question today, and this person says, thank you so much. And now we have the question from Jimmy Rucundos. He says, what about aggravated felony waiver?
You know, I love this kind of cases. So immigration definition of aggravated, we call them FL, is different from criminal definition of FL, is different from each state. There's 50 states in America and Puerto Rico, which is not a state. So it depends on the state law, depends on the federal immigration law, depends on the federal criminal law, and then we find a definition. Just because someone thinks it's an aggravated felony, it may not be. So don't assume it is. So if you want me to, I can look. You need the certified judgment entry of the criminal record. You also need a copy of the transcript. If the clerk of courts asks you what portion, you say all, because there's a plea portion, that maybe there's an information portion, there's the trial portion, you know, the sentencing portion. So you want to just say all. Go to a good lawyer. A good lawyer will solve it.
Call Ms. Wong. Call Ms. Wong. She doesn't say that because she's very shy or very, very modest, but
there's always someone better. Yeah.
You have to call Ms. Wong because even though she's an immigration attorney, she has criminal attorneys in the law firm that are immigration and criminal attorneys that have been judges and prosecutors. They know how to help you out. So give them a call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Call today, make an appointment as soon as possible, and try to get out of trouble and maybe fix your immigration situation. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for having us today. Our time is up. Looking forward to see you next Wednesday. I'll be doing the show from St. Louis, Missouri next week. So thank you so much for having me today, and looking forward to see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for everybody who has joined us today, don't forget you can call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong and Associates. They will be able to help you in your immigration case nationwide in any state of the United States of America. And she also has offices in 7 cities: Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. See you next time, and thank you so much.